Undertale, not the prettiest, like not by no means does it look like actual humans. I have had more attachment to Sans, the character from that game, this 8-bit character,
than any human in my life.
Than any human.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 16 of the FBE Podcast, the only place to hang out with these faces and voices for more than 15 to 30 minutes at a time and learn way more about the company than you ever wanted to know. Joining us this week, two very special guests. Marc, say hello.
Hi, I'm Marc.
That was Marc for those listening to the audio version. He's wearing a beanie. I don't know if you can tell in the audio that there are two beanies on the podcast.
You can hear it in the mic.
I sound a lot like Rafi because of the beanie. There's something.
Wait, watch this. If you take it off, just listen to your voice.
How's it going?
See, that's without the beanie.
It's
That's
like a resonation
weird.
chamber, you know?
And we also have Derek. Derek, say hello.
Hey, everybody. I am Derek.
So I did a half-assed introduction there, but obviously Marc is one of our editors from our post-production team, and Derek is one of our associate producers on the React channel. And this is all about gaming because these two guys are heavily plugged into all of the gaming content we do here at FBE. So we thought, let's do a gaming podcast.
Yes.
Joining me this week after a slight
I've been gone
respite,
forever. Yes.
we have...
Rafi! Yay, that's me, guys. I'm on the mend and I'm doing better. So thank you for all your well wishes, and I'm back
Did
and
anybody
I'm
tweet
ready to
you?
go.
Because only the
I'm
5%
really
really,
bad. I don't-
know you guys have Twitters at this point.
Yeah,
so.
and I'm bad at checking it, especially
Benny is
when I'm
much
sick.
better than Rafi.
Yeah, Benny, if you want to interact more, Benny's really engaged on Twitter. I'm not nearly as good at that.
Twitter's too many words for me. I'm all about Instagram. I can just be like, okay, there's pictures. I don't have to.
Twitter's too many words. 140 characters is too much of a
No,
commitment
but
for
you look
Marc.
at it the other way. Look at if a picture's worth 1,000 words.
Exactly.
That's way more words.
134 characters is not enough. I need 1,000 words for every post.
But generally, like, this is really exciting and something that I think ongoing is possible that as we build out maybe more podcasts or different things, there might be like more opportunities to be discussing gaming in more often, or some of the shows that you specifically like out there, because we make so many different types of things and we know that different people like different shows the most. We know that we have people that love gaming the most. So if this is for you, like, we've got these guys, and but gaming for us is a really big passion point at the company, and we always wish we could be doing even more of it, but at least we get to really dive in here for an hour or so talking all about it.
Yeah, so low key, this is my audition for the gaming podcast. So
Here we go.
we're pushing hard for this
Pressure.
I would love that. I listen to gaming podcasts on the way to work. Like,
Yeah.
my half-hour drive, I'm like, I just want to hear people talk about games.
Well, it would be.
what I
It's
love.
good to know just generally of like when you guys out there are watching, and you are the ones that we're thinking the most about, the 5% that are watching this. What are things that you guys have thought of? Of course, we did the algorithm hour. We've kind of joked about different things of what we could do. But if you were to think about what other types of podcasts were to be done by the company, what other things could you be like thinking that you'd want to see? Don't be nice now, because they're actually here. They're going to be looking at the comments. So better say some
take
gaming ones.
Let's go. Can I vote for like a toppings podcast? Waffle toppings, pizza toppings, ice
Just
cream.
toppings
just
only.
toppings.
It's an interesting
That's
niche.
like it. Right,
It's a
that's-
very interesting niche. I don't think there is
In
a
the
toppings
IT
I want a
podcast.
2%. I just need 2%.
Hot dogs.
2% of the 5%.
2% milk on your hot dogs?
I'll take that
on your
too.
pizza?
Okay, so besides learning all about toppings and topping related things on this podcast, we basically ask you guys every week across our social networks, primarily Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and YouTube, what do you want to talk about? What kind of questions do you have? I know we put up a very gorgeous picture of you guys. It looked like reminiscing on set today on our Instagram feed.
I mean, that whole photo shoot.
And Twitter, actually. There was a different one on
4
Twitter.
hours. It was tough to find
was
the right
relentless.
photo.
The hair and makeup woman quit by the time we were done.
Well, you were very verbally abusive, Derek. So, like, to her credit, she was...
Hey, she's not getting my highlights right. We're gonna have problems.
But we posted their picture earlier today asking for gaming specific or just like work, FBE specific questions for these guys and for us. If you guys have questions about any of the stuff we do, any of the series we make, the reactors, the industry, YouTube as a whole, any social media platform, use the hashtag FBE Podcast to send your questions in each week, or reply to any of the posts where we're asking for questions, and we may pick yours for the podcast. So we've got a ton of questions that have already come in.
Mark, don't look.
For
Cheater.
I am a cheater.
This is why you don't play poker next to them.
This was never have I ever. Did you say that you cheat? No, you were a non-cheater.
I definitely cheated on a test.
Oh, it was
before.
Michaela that was the non-cheater.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know how that's possible. How did somebody not cheat? This was a Challenge Chalice episode, by the way, that Mark was in.
The cheating that I did was I got a traffic ticket and had to take traffic school, but I wasn't going to go through and read all of that documentation to find their exact answer. So I just downloaded a PDF of all that, went into the test, and I was like, okay, here's the question they're asking. What's the exact language they want? And put it in. So I could do it within a day and not like be laboring over that for
having
many
been in
days.
a similar situation. There are things out there that are like the Spark Notes of DMV tests. So, you know, throwing that out there.
Yeah.
I've always said there should be more. We should be giving licenses to more people. That's what I've always said. Okay. The first question, Ashley Grace, 1993, over on Instagram, wanted to know, what did you guys do before working at FBE?
Ooh.
You want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Let's see. I dropped out of film school to move to California and start trying to work in the industry. I worked at a company called Crystal Sky, where I worked on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th installment of the Baby Geniuses movies.
Nice.
I was waiting for the payoff.
Yeah, it's like, what is it going to be?
I was like, 3rd, 4th, and 5th installment. There haven't been many 5th installments of almost anything.
Quite an enjoyable time, that. And then I moved on to a documentary about finding Noah's Ark. And after that, came to FBE and started the journey of basically all the gaming you've seen on the channel from 2 years ago till now.
Pretty amazing.
Like everything that I can physically do.
So it's actually, you just said that you dropped out of film school, being a film school graduate, not saying like that, but in the sense of like, it's interesting because people out there are thinking about their careers and such that are watching the channel and they are thinking about going to film school. What was your experience of being like, you know what, I should just go to LA and get started?
It was heavily based on some of the professors I worked with most and looked up to, kind of suggesting that. They're like, you know, you're going to get an associate's degree. You're not going to be going for a bachelor's or something that'll help you out elsewhere if you decide to not do film. There's not going to be a lot of places that are going to care if you've got a degree or not. So like, go out there, get experience. People will want a degree or relevant work experience. So you might as well go out there, stop paying us to teach you something that somebody in the industry is going to teach you better if you're going to just, you know, go work an unpaid
film
internship.
School has kind of like
something.
that. It's like it's a trade. It's a skill. So there's if you get going, you can learn that trade. You can learn that skill.
That being said, I would not trade the year and a half that I was at the film school, because that, like, just diving in, making so many films and like learning everything about editing and projects, like meeting people that I still work with today, like I would not trade that for the world.
Good. So get some school.
Get some education.
School.
But like, if you feel like, you know, definitely balance out what you think school is going to give you in the long run. Like, is the
Crushing
thousands
student
of
loan
dollars,
debt.
are those student
that's
loan
no
debt,
joke.
is it going to be worth it for the type of career you're going into? Is that going to like balance out?
And you said that, just to recap quickly, you said those things, but you had targeted in on post-production and editing even during film school, or was that coming out of film school?
That was actually something that was established at my first, the Crystal Sky, the Baby Geniuses place. I started as an unpaid intern in post-production, and it's just stuff like I kind of did directing, writing, editing, because I wanted to control more of the story. And so I started in the post-production there and really found a love for it, and was hired a couple weeks after starting my unpaid internship because somebody left. And then that ball just kind of kept rolling.
And then you directed Baby Geniuses number 5.
Number 6. I couldn't get on number
Never
5.
came out.
Did you do a spec script for Baby Geniuses 6? Did you ever submit a spec for that?
No, they just hired me to do it right away. It was great. 2 weeks production.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start back at the film school thing too. Then I actually went to a trade school then for film because of that same reason where it was like, do you really want to spend 2 to 4 years in a film school, or you could spend 4 to 6 months in a program where it teaches you the basics and move on from there. So that's what I did. I went to a trade school in Arizona. I learned kind of ENG, EFP type stuff, which is electronic news gathering and electronic field production, which is basically one camera, 3-point lighting, just do it kind of stuff. But I ended up getting my degree in business because kind of that same argument is, film school, the entertainment industry is so vast, it's so varied, no one place does anything the same way. So film school can only give you so much of that experience.
I feel like if you're going to a big film school like USC, you're going to get those connections that will pay off for those loans. But like if you're going to a smaller trade school, that's where you're not.
I always like a lot of the interns that come in and such. I'm always telling them that internships are so important while you're in school, because the more that you can make connections, build that network, learn different things of how things different work, you have to be in the field. It shouldn't just be the education. You need to be making your own films. You need to be going and taking internships, doing everything.
And it's like it's almost like worth like extending school, if you are in school, extending school to intern more. Like almost like take a semester off to intern. Like
your parents will love you for it.
There's no, because you're not necessarily in class paying bills during that time, but a lot of internships actually kind of require course credit.
Yeah.
And so being under that umbrella from your institution, being able to get credit from your school is a huge key to even being eligible for a lot of internships. So it's crucial. And
absolutely, there's so many that you build that network. That's one of the biggest things about this industry, and everybody says it, but you need that network. So it helps. It helps when you have an internship in the place where you're going to be, because I interned in New York City and then immediately left. So that didn't help me long term. But yeah, I came out here. I started my entertainment career out here in LA, working for a particularly large theme park conglomerate.
I know that was the thing. Is like, imagine if Benny was here right now.
Oh, that's all we would talk about.
The whole conversation would just become.
It would
be like last
Derek
episode
and
with
Alyssa, Swoozie, and Benny.
It would just be a Disney episode.
Just ridiculous.
But yeah, work production for them, and it was production on their theme park facilities or their lots or their land. So any kind of photo shoot, commercial, feature film that came through there, we got to work on that, and that built that network out. From there, I worked places like Disney Channel, NFL Network. I've worked Marvel live events, and now I'm here.
Yeah.
So it's a wide variety of stuff.
So the thing that Benny would bring up, and so I'd be remiss to not, is that like it was that you on your college program at Disney that Benny started doing the college program at Disney in Orlando, and when he was a manager at that point at Kilimanjaro Safari, a guest service
GSM.
GSM. So Benny knew Derek because he was his boss during that time.
I was one of the Safari tour drivers. I drove the truck around. The fact that they let 19-year-old me drive around a truck of 32 people. The things I got away with, we won't talk about.
Did you get to make a lot of puns? Like Jungle Cruise
No, they
drivers.
discouraged it. So
it's not the Jungle Cruise.
No, because it's like the
real.
the actual animals.
So for those who aren't aware, the Kilimanjaro Safaris is an attraction in Florida's park in the Animal Kingdom, where the best way to describe it is it's the Jungle Cruise, if you're familiar with Disneyland, except it's a truck instead of a boat. And it's real animals instead of animatronics.
And you're actually driving.
It's not on a track. There's like a road, but like I'm driving.
No, you'll kill the animals.
I nearly drove off the road once.
You admit it.
Oh, man. Does Benny know? You can tell him, like, trying to figure out, is this okay to talk about?
Everything, I'm like, I don't know if I can say that.
Nearly. You didn't. So that was really funny because I think, like, did I interview you originally?
Yeah, it was yourself and Dev who was in my interview. And I tried. I wanted to get this clean cut. I didn't want to mention the fact that I knew Benny ahead of time. I wanted to earn it on my own merit. And then the first day on the job, Benny found me and was like, oh my God. But I mean, even then, I ran into you guys living here in LA a handful of times just around town. I ran into you guys in a Ralph's once.
Oh, man.
I ran into you guys when I was working at the park in Anaheim. Not stalking. I was working, and you're stalking me. Come on now. It was just one of those things where it was like kept kind of crossing paths. Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's fate.
Something like that.
Let's kiss.
There was a lot of shipping going on already with some of these promotional pictures.
Merrick, I think I saw.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
there's some desktop pictures I've got.
Look, we've gotten a lot of
the internet.
We got a lot of Jennies with me and Benny in the past, so I'm all about it. Okay, Brianna over on Twitter wanted to know what made you decide to get into either editing or production. What was it about the field in general that kind of, I don't know, inspired that initial interest?
I'm a storyteller. I can't help it. Like, that's what interests me. I think almost that's like the drive of life. You know, you hear that whole thing of you can't take it with you. You know, the material things in this world that don't matter. The only thing that you have in this life is the story that you tell. And this is the industry, the career that lets me do that, that encourages me to be that storyteller. And with the stuff we make, we've discussed when we talk about edits and things, we'll talk about the 3-act structure and the build up and who's got the conflict in this episode and stuff like, because that's what gives me that motivation to go further. So I'm a storyteller.
When did you maybe connect that to like, oh, like I want to like work in production?
When I was in 4th grade, I wrote a script. And it was called BT. It was about the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, I thought it was going to be ET.
Yeah, BT.
It was terrible.
ET on BET.
And I got my group of friends, and every recess, that's what we did. We didn't play on the playground. We didn't hang out and play basketball or the tetherball. Nah, we hung out in the far back corner of the playground, and we rehearsed our movie that we were going to make over the summer. And that was the moment I was like, because I wrote it thinking, I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to be the star. And as I was doing it's like, no, you guys do this. Let me tell you what to do. I got this. Needless to say, our film shoots over the summer just became pool parties, and I don't even think we saw.
You lost some of the coordination, cohesiveness.
Again, I'm that creative mind. I need the logistical somebody to come in and help me out.
It sounds very much like you were the Benny of the group. That like I was roped in by Benny and all of our friends were roped in by Benny to be he was the orchestrator and the composer, telling us like what we need to do, when we need to be, where, how, what's a script, etc. And that's what you ended up doing too.
Yeah, I mean,
there's always somebody.
You couldn't help it. It was at that point you're like, well, what else am I gonna do? I mean, like I watch these movies, I play these video games. I gotta use this knowledge of story somehow, and that's what I did.
And Mark, with your editing?
Well, I first wanted to start making movies after The Sixth Sense came out on DVD. It was the first DVD we had ever gotten. And
Director's commentary or something?
Well, yeah, there was special features, and one of them was about how M. Night Shyamalan like made movies as a kid, and that's like he was like working on the horror genre as a kid, and I was like, I want to make some movies. So me and my friend got his VHS camera, just like that linear editing, like you have to cut, all right, next take, let's reset up. Yeah. And we were made horror movies, like wrote down credits on pieces of paper and just like filmed them. And so like as a kid, I loved doing that, and I thought it was a lot of fun. Growing up, the high school I went to, like they were like, you can't do that as a career. That's stupid. And so like I started thinking of other stuff. Like I was like, maybe I'd be an architect. Maybe I'll be at one point I wanted to be a pilot. My dad was in the Air Force, and I was like, yeah, I could go to the Air Force Academy, be a pilot. But then my brother, who had taken a year off from high school, between high school and college, found this film school in Denver called Colorado Film School that he was going to go to. And then I was like,
wait a second.
So this
my
is
childhood dream.
This is something I can do. Like this is an option. And so from there, yeah, it was kind of just downhill. Like I graduated high school early so I could immediately go up and be in school with my brother, and we started making movies together, and then moved out to LA together, and
I can't say the influence of what you were saying, behind the scenes footage of stuff. Like I had that four VHS box set of Back to the Future, and that fourth tape was all the behind the scenes, and they spent this whole half hour talking about like the train going over the edge, and I was like, wait a minute, people work on this? People make these things? It's not like they just film it?
I do want to highlight the idea of like it's something now for years that we've been saying, but now maybe because we're building stuff out on like FBE2 or whatever. But I also have just wanted it as like a company event after hours to just get drunk and watch all of our first films. So I would really love to watch these things.
We have a Slack channel called I think it's called Film School.
Okay.
Where you have to share something that you've made if you want to get into this channel.
Oh.
But it's where like
So you've seen some of people's first stuff?
Yeah, like you can post links to the stuff that you've made. No judgment, no like.
Is this film school? Because I wanted to quickly just like tell my connection into the industry, because I don't know if this pays off, but it is funny how you think about, especially if you're trying to figure out what career or maybe industry you're interested in pursuing. If you think back to some of that stuff that is grade school, because it's almost like all of our stories start really young. Mm-hmm. And for me and my friend Richard, it was us being kind of obsessed with British comedy and Monty Python and stuff, and us just literally with a camcorder just reenacting Monty Python sketches. And I think I have some. So it's super young.
Just
but it's like us doing
on
like
YouTube so you can share it.
It's us doing like the parrot sketch and like the cheese shop and like all these iconic sketches where it's just us acting, because we figured out it was simple enough material that we thought we could mimic,
especially the way that they shot stuff back then, where like there were simple one takes or like, as they're performing them and such. So you could definitely and that's the thing, even watching like Kevin Smith, which was what Benny's main inspiration, that really wanted him to be like, I can make stuff, you don't have to be some crazy thing you always wanted to, but then he saw, you can just like black and white and not great lighting and just have a good premise and a good script, and the acting doesn't even have to be that good, and oh my god, let's make stuff now. And that's basically how we ended up making our first feature.
It's interesting how your hobbies or just stuff that you were passionate about like even younger can kind of map to that, because maybe it doesn't map for everybody, or you know what I mean, what they did as a kid, they're like, oh, like that's not a career. But it's funny how we all kind of like tapped into that in a way, and was just like, oh, like this is a thing. Like I even when I was younger, I was like, I don't know if that can be a career. I ended up working in local news because I was like, oh, that's how I make it a career. Like that's TV production. Like nobody can work in the movies. Like YouTube wasn't a thing, but I was like, I can work in news and still press buttons and use cameras and stuff like that. But
I can't. Same thing. I can't tell you how many points even as I first were trying to struggle. I mean, this is not an easy industry to break into.
100% no.
And
you have to love what you're doing.
How many times have we asked ourselves, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can keep doing this. And
like
then you
today?
go, and then and then you go, but what else would I do? What else could I see myself doing? And you're like, well, I guess I'll just keep doing this.
Yeah. Like
it's a hard industry. It's ridiculous.
There's a quote I saw about, I hate writing, but I love having written. And like that's it. A lot of times for me, I'm like, man, I hate this edit. Nothing's working. It's all so hard. Like I can't work it out in my mind, and then I finish it, and there's just like, it's such a euphoric feeling. Like, whew, I did something, and it's good.
It is good.
When somebody else watches something that you put together, you're like, yeah, this is the best.
That's the feeling you're going. It's like it's an addiction.
It's the same thing like a baker feels when they finally get to serve their cake or something like that. Like, I made this.
So you basically say that they're making you addicted to you don't enjoy what you do, but then they make you enjoy what you do when they watch and you see their comments.
Yeah. Okay. So like you're always going to have trouble doing what you're doing at times. Like there's other things that pop up in life. You may be in a bad mood for some other reason. The Broncos lost the game, to name a few, and so like things can be tough, but it's always that driving force, that like end goal that can make the stuff that may not be fun in the moment a little more tolerable.
It looks like, and I know with the vlog, with behind the scenes, with our staff reacts, we have fun with what we do, but it's still a job.
It's hard.
There's still a lot of work that goes into it.
I was saying like, when we're done here, I'm going to go back and do more work. I know all of us probably are.
Cool. So moving along, we'll stick with the gaming theme for a second. Justice Hernandez over on Twitter. Favorite game growing up. So there's a lot of childhood in this podcast. Okay. We're gonna dig into some issues here.
Podcast. Growing up. So we're not talking all time. Just
your
in
favorite
our youth.
Game.
Justice did not say all time. He said growing up.
You want?
Or she.
Yeah, I've got one.
It could be a she.
I've got one.
Go ahead. I gotta think about it.
So, it's conflicting. I'm going to give an honorable mention and then talk about the favorite one. Honorable mention, A Link to the Past, Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past on the SNES. My favorite childhood game growing up, Star Fox 64. That game takes an hour and a half to beat. I've probably sunk a good 400 hours into that game, beat it countless times. Like you can unlock a mode that lets you walk around on the ground in multiplayer if you beat every single level and get the medal on it, which is like beating it the best you can. And then you do that on every single level. That unlocks expert, and you do the same thing on expert, and then you unlock the walking level. And I didn't unlock the walking level until about like 3 years ago when I I'm gonna do this, and best feeling I've ever had.
I'm afraid I'm gonna miss something. I'm gonna disservice my child, but the first thing that comes to mind is almost I kind of connect them, but Sonic the Hedgehog, and then going into Crash Bandicoot. Those early console platformers, which
Mario platformers,
exactly. With that resurgence, with that remake of Crash Bandicoot, the fact that it's it's here again. It's like what year is it? but yeah, just it's the simple controls, but at the same time there's a world that you're slowly unlocking as you progress through this thing. And you're like, oh, that exists now? That exists now? Now it's a snow level? What? It just blew my little 10-year-old mind.
There's something so satisfying, too, about those platformers. Of just it's kind of what I get from Dark Souls now, that just learning how to do something and you level up because you are getting better at the level that you're seeing. That just is so...
we're
amazing.
Gaming nerds. I don't know if
huge gaming
we're
nerds.
gonna talk games.
Derek's gonna go back and work. I'm gonna go home and play games, which is my work.
Eat souls. Yeah,
eat some souls
for the time being, Mark. Do you have a game that stands out to you, Raf, or not really?
Childhood wise,
for me, it's and this is, we're talking generationally now, but the first Super Mario Brothers game for me, I remember sitting and my friend having it and me kind of sitting in front and being given the controller. And I had never really played Atari or any kind of games before that, but probably within 2 minutes, I had figured out the controls or something, and I was gone. That game hooked me so. I think I sat there for 4 or 5 hours and then became belligerent that that time was coming to an end or something. And I remember trying to come up with some kind of contract or agreement with my parents to get me an NES for Christmas, the following holiday season. And then after that, Zelda and I remember playing NES Golf with my stepdad for hours and thinking this is incredible.
That's a secret Easter egg on the Switch I found.
What?
NES Golf.
Oh.
It's built into the software. You have to do.
I'm sure it takes up a whole 8 kilobytes on the
but it's hidden somewhere in there.
I'll quickly say my favorite first game ever was Excite Bike on NES.
Designing the levels.
And
the first time you ever got to build your own level.
I could right now, if we were to and we don't have the time for it, but it's a great quiz to try and figure out how many obstacles can you remember from memory from the Excite Bike course that you can design.
And then the one that kind of just threw me into I couldn't even believe what was happening was playing Final Fantasy VII. I couldn't even believe what I was experiencing, and it was ridiculous of what gaming can be, and that there's so many different ways that gaming can go. But that one just was I don't understand how this is a possibility, that this is what storytelling can be in a game, how it's going to just take over in a lot of ways of that gaming is. Storytelling and gaming is really what is the future of interactivity with your movie. That's gaming. And Final Fantasy made me just be I don't understand how I'm able to play something that is this enriched as a story.
Wait, that game affected me so much. I've spent months and did a whole Cloud cosplay, and I've got a 2 scale to me Buster sword made out of foam and PVC.
Yes.
It's still heavy. It's not even metal in that. I'm sorry, Cloud, you're too tiny to be wielding that sword.
It's got some shoulders.
I don't know is there anybody that can challenge kind of Mark on the cosplay front in terms of at least gaming cosplay at the office?
Josh.
Oh right,
Josh and his girlfriend are crazy.
Josh's crew.
I saw them at WonderCon, and he did. His girlfriend did or they did Team Rocket together, and she had the hair that was She had to hold it up because it was glued out to do the exact like physics defying like sideways curl. Yeah.
I want to veer off there because I think that this isn't a question of just even in me mentioning that, where I know that you guys have that huge passion for gaming overall, and that like of the future of gaming and how it is. To me, it's the future of everything. Like, we'll always still have movies or whatever, but like movies are going to just be what they're going to be. It's where gaming is where we're actually going to continue to become more obsessed, and that industry is what's going to take over entertainment. Because we've only started just scraping
it
what
already
it can do.
is. Yeah. Like the choose your own adventure videos, that's a game.
Yeah.
Like it's a video, but it's a game.
Right. Like, oh yeah. The Echo project that we've mentioned a bit, where it's the choose your own adventure. Like, you can click and decide where you're going to go, which hopefully soon enough we'll have those online. But yeah, even live action is becoming stuff that you would want to have it as a game.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely that passive versus active entertainment. Do you want to be involved with the story that is unfolding before you? And just the way that games have evolved into now, like seeing some of these, like, Horizon Zero Dawn, that just recently came out, and it's a full fleshed out story, and they hire professional actors to the point now where the game models, they're not just created by, a designer somewhere, which is still they model them to look like the people now. They look like
Planet
the
of the Apes style. Like they literally go that deep into it.
What was the new DC fighting game?
Injustice,
yeah.
Like, it is, you talk about like where the industry is heading, because that game comes out and within a day or so people have edited together the movie from the cutscenes of the game.
Which I remember doing with like Tekken and stuff.
Thank you to whoever does that online.
You don't have to actually do it yourself. Thank God.
I don't have time to like play through the game. The game looks incredible and amazing, but I will sit there fascinated by the movie that they've kind of cut together from the thing.
And like, you got these games like Uncharted too, the Uncharted series of games, where that's what they'll do is they'll take them.
Sorry
and
that we haven't
down.
played it yet.
We'll get there. They'll cut it down to 2-3 hour long movies, but at the same time, like, if you know somebody who plays it, like when I was going through the series, I had somebody who would just sit with me and watch. I'm like, do you want to play? You want to take it? No, this is fantastic. This is engaging. I mean, it's that whole idea where we had to break through that idea that video game characters can be relatable, that they can seem like real characters, that you actually care about the struggle that they have. Even now, where there's kind of this throwback where you're starting to see these 8-bit things coming back, or these overly simplified geometry-based games where you're controlling literally a block.
Yeah.
But you get so emotionally invested because
in that block.
Because that story, it pulls you in, and there's like a character depth. And
to that point, Undertale, not the prettiest, like, not by no means does it look like actual humans. I have had more attachment to Sans, the character from that game, this 8-bit character,
than any human in my life.
Than any human.
Or human in a movie. Human in a movie or human in your life.
Yeah. So I love playing the final Sans battle where you're doing the genocide.
No spoilers.
I love that.
I still haven't played it. Sorry.
The final battle
sorry a lot.
where you're killing every character. The final battle with Sans, I do the entire battle till you get up to the point where you have to kill him. Quit out. I can't do it. I can't kill him. I am too attached to that character, and he's like little 2D, like nothing.
And you guys have also worked so much now also on things that I'm so proud of you guys for, of finding out how do we basically take all these VR experiences and these multiplayer VR experiences, esport VR experiences, and how the hell do we make those entertaining? But even the esports world, the VR world, the choose your own adventure world, the open world, it's just
there's a lot
gaming.
of words.
It's ridiculous.
So many of those things too that you described, like VR, it's one of those interesting things, and the immersive, or the when you put yourself within the green screen, like the esports, like
the mixed reality.
The mixed reality. Yeah. It's one of those things where it's so different to try to explain it to somebody than it's just put on the headset and try it. They've got Skyrim VR coming out, and somebody was talking about, like, Skyrim is what now, a 7-year-old game?
Try not to feel old.
Something like that. It's been re-released God knows how many times.
Coming out again on the Switch.
And somebody said, they tried the new VR version, and they step into a castle, and they look up and they're like, oh, that roof is 30 feet tall. I know that now. Before it was just, it was about this tall on my TV screen. But now it's I can tell when a giant spider's coming at me. I can tell you that spider has legs that are 6 feet long, and I don't want to get anywhere near it. And again, the esports, like for someone who just hears, oh, there's sports that's gaming. Okay, sure. Then they also put Texas Hold'em on ESPN. Nobody cares. But once you see it,
I'm sorry, anybody offended by that.
there was an argument against it. But it's like until
We'll
you
never have it back on the show. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry.
It'll happen.
It'll happen.
But yeah, that people need to experience it before they kind of pass that judgment on it. Before they're like, oh, it's just another like. No, these are things you have to see. And that's how it's going to become the next thing.
There's as much like skill involved in the competitive sports as there is in like actual like football, soccer, like football.
It's a generational thing that of course this company is able to really, it's so interesting to watch of like what each generation didn't understand or didn't get on board with. And gaming has been now proven to be like the next one fully of being like, yeah, it's still people don't get it depending on the generation you're from. And you just see, it's like you have to just not sound like an old person and I wonder sometimes still, what is that going to be soon enough where we go, oh, not that, that's not going to become a thing? Because right now we all are like, oh, of course esports and of course gaming and of course, but soon enough there's going to be some things that we're like, that won't become a thing, that's not real. And it's going to be totally the thing that is
credit
new.
to the elders. Credit to the elders who come in and they're willing to try. We put them in.
Whether they might vomit or not.
So wait, quick question, just to
get
loop
back
this
on a
back.
question. Yeah.
Lockmanak over on Instagram wanted to know if you chose Reactors for gaming episodes based on ability.
Yes and no. I mean, I think the part of the point is we want to see a wide. That's part of the reaction.
I thought we were talking about elders for a second. So I was like, well, the elders. I don't know.
We want to see a wide reaction of people. So you want to know, okay, this guy's a gamer. He knows how to play. What's he going to think of this game? Right next to 30 seconds after you see somebody who's never touched a PlayStation controller before.
And what do they think?
And what do they think of it? And that's, again, the point, I think, of React Channel is we want to see what not just one person thinks of it, what a wide variety of people think of it. Yeah. So...
And what has that been for you, like on the editing side of just, it's very interesting to edit that idea of being like, when can I go back to the person that can play the game versus the people that like, you're going to watch them die like 8 times.
That's where the biggest difficulty in editing the games comes from, and why it's probably the toughest series we have on the channel to edit, is because you've got like even a very linear game, like we talk about the branching narratives and how those have it's just such a headache and would take way too much time.
How have we done, by the way, to try to explain it to the audience? Have you watched us try to explain to everybody?
I think you guys are great.
We're trying our best to be like, please understand that it's really hard, and that's directly related to Mark and to Rachel of having to work on these things of like, these things are going to be way too difficult to try to get through.
It's not impossible to do that, to have more people play it, but it would not be fun. Like you'd be constantly going back over the exact same thing to just pick out the minutia. It would take forever to edit. It wouldn't be an enjoyable experience for anybody.
Yeah.
For the branching narratives, but like even for like linear stuff, it's such a diverse bit of what happens, because like you've got somebody with little experience as opposed to somebody who's going to take 5 minutes to explore this area, and somebody who's going to get through it in about 15 seconds because they're going to run straight for the exit. Well, blending those worlds together seamlessly
we always talk gamer logic, and then it's something that you almost, if you didn't game growing up, you don't have. But it's, you walk into a virtual room and one corner's lit up. The game is telling you go over there.
But if you don't play
don't play games, you don't know that. If you see 10 ledges around you and one of them is colored yellow, you should probably go over there. Yeah. But if
there's a chest in the room, you beeline to the chest.
Well,
or if there's a
Dark Souls, you avoid that chest, or you hit it first.
No, you run up to the chest, backstep. See, okay.
And
see if the chain's pointed
I saw some people in Destiny 2, because Shant was really knew the game really well.
Yeah, Shant.
But it's also interesting, and you dealt with this, where like you have the people that are best at the game are sometimes the hardest to get into the episode
because there's just not enough time of them.
They roll right through, and you also like, and that's been something mentally also, because we have a lot of people that tend to complain about how casuals and noobs and everything about the gamers, and it's kind of like, yeah, that's part of what the experience is, to see a bunch of different people playing the game. But it's also like, it's so interesting to not make the good person also look bad because you think that maybe it took them a long time to get through it. I don't know if you've ever gone through that with like Vince or with me, of being like, do we show the person doing it really well right away and they get through it, or it's going to be that they're at the end of the sequence and then it looks like it took them a long time too, but it's like, no, they rolled right through, but that's the way it has to be edited. And
one way we were able to do that really well was in the Dark Souls 3 episode, because we had Jasser in that, who beat the boss first try. Like he had the game, he played it, he knew the logic, beat it first try. Everybody else was like, 12, 15 tries. So it's like, we just had to keep like splicing in little bits of Jasser. Okay, he's still going at it.
Right.
And then just like having the
we've done different things of putting in like lives over time too. There's so many different things that we tried to think about so that you can get a grasp of like, no, these people did do that really quickly and they were fine, because we do want to show even the audience that we do have people that are playing through and how they're enjoying it and not. But sometimes it's hard to know if somebody was good at the game or not.
Yeah, I mean, specifically with that Dark Souls episode, I mean, we spend probably, I don't remember how long that episode is, but we spend a good third of that episode just on that boss battle, exclusively on that boss battle. Now, if you were to watch the footage real time, Jasser beat the boss in 1 minute and 22 seconds or something like that. So what we had to do, if we're talking that editing, what we have to do is you find those similar moments. So the boss does this one move where he leaps all the way across the arena. How did Jasser deal with that? How did this person deal with that? Okay, now what happens when the boss goes into its second form? How did Jasser deal with that? How did Jennifer deal with that? And that's how we kind of tell that story through the episode.
Yeah, the shared experiences.
Right. Panda Style 1000. Besides Life is Strange, hardest gameplay to edit.
My first game on the channel, I got thrown.
Welcome to the company.
I got thrown into training with Jordan on the Walking Dead Telltale series. That a game here usually takes like 8 to 16 hours to edit, depending on like the length. Like if it's a 15-minute episode, if it's a 30-minute episode. That one took 3 days as I was training with Jordan. Halfway through the second day, Jordan was like, "We're not going to finish this, Mark. You're going to have to start training." Usually, like at that time, the training practices were to like have the editor sit on like a couple of games and then like be shadowed. But like halfway through that first edit, it was like, "Mark, you got to get in here. We got to finish this thing."
I want to bring another one to mind. The first Sonic the Hedgehog game.
Oh my God,
okay.
Sonic.
So Sonic the Hedgehog, we played like a year and a half ago, the original Sonic.
I'm trying to remember what happened with that one.
And it on the surface, if you were to watch the episode, it's kind of a standard gaming episode. But the way it worked in the room is, again, I grew up with the game, we grew up with the game. For those who don't know, Sonic, that
there's all those different paths.
There's all the different paths, but that first level is designed for you to learn the speed of the game. But the reactors had in their mind that it was Mario. And so a level that should have taken them 45 seconds took them 6 minutes, because they're like, oh, what happens if I go down here and I start going back this way? And what if how come I can't, what do you mean I can't make this loop-de-loop? Why can't I make the loop-de-loop? You got to like go back and you have to
go
like
fast in this game, guys.
You got to tell them like how to speed up, and they're like, and then they get to this moment where they finally pick up that speed. Sonic's legs are going like this, and they'd stop. They're like, oh, this is going too fast for me. I can't deal with this. You're like, no, keep going.
It's like a reverse like time run or something. How long does it take?
Those retro games too, like because they've got all the information up on the screen, like you got to make sure, okay, like we're not skipping over an entire death, are we? Or
we don't want to cheat the audience. We don't want to be like, hey, somebody died and we just didn't show it. No, we want to make sure you see everything, but you can't cut any of that out. Yeah.
And that's where like a lot of the gaming stuff that we would wish we could do a lot more of, is that there's so many different ways to play a game, kind of similar to like OG, where people would want to see people that are hardcore awesome at a game and playing it. People would want to see people that are first times for the first times. And then what we do is like in the middle. But I would be fascinated to watch all of those. I would want to see all of those in different episodes.
So this is a quick one, even though Ralph crossed it out. I'm going to quickly, very quickly, go to Mario Kart character.
Can it be the Mario Kart Infinite, or are we talking like 64?
Let's go retro. Let's go 64, okay. But you can give your infinite answer.
Okay, my infinite answer would be Link, because Zelda's best game. but go-to would be Toad in 64, because
Same thing.
Toad's the fastest.
Toad is the
You
answer.
have to have the fastest. Like, I can control any amount. Like, I don't need extra control from DK. I need that speed.
It was that
and
acceleration.
then I'll be better.
Because that's what that whole game was about. No matter what, at some point in the race, or if you were in the battle, you're going to get knocked out. You're going to spin out and you're going to pull over to the side. But Toad had the quickest acceleration, so that's the fastest you're going to get back into the race.
I was always in love with the Yoshi design, so I always went Yoshi.
If somebody picks Toad, you can go Yoshi. That's a close second. But like the race is to get to Toad immediately.
Do you ever play Mario
crossed
Kart?
out the question. I'm not interested in this question. But if you guys have an answer, feel free to
want to know
comment.
yours. Leave your favorite go-to Mario Kart question.
It's
below.
Toad, though.
Well, to be fair, Roth's desperately trying to save us time because I have like 1,000 questions to get through, and he's like, anyway.
I'm ready for him.
Okay, Derek, did you? This is from Rafael Santos.
It's from Rafi.
KS Win 01 was the Mario Kart. Thank you for submitting that. Rafael Santos. Derek, did you break the Mac in the Chalice video? That was the hugest, most epic reaction I've seen.
People were so on like bated breath.
Oh my
wondering
gosh.
what happened after that moment.
It was definitely a heat of the moment thing. I may have blacked out. I may owe you guys some money. No, it was
Every employee gets one broken laptop.
You may notice a slight deduction in your next pay stub, Derek.
Fair enough. Oh, no. So the other side of the camera, there's always the producer that's running the room, and it was Zach, and both he and I were talking ahead of time. Is like, are you gonna win one, man? Like, is it ever
Do you
gonna
see
happen?
all the people in the comments who were so rooting for you the whole time?
I wanted to win.
so
Was
nice.
this a challenge show? What?
No,
it was a laugh challenge, and I lost it.
But they were just like they were so with you the whole
thought I could've
thing,
had it.
and like and so many comments came in just being like, "I thought you were gonna have it, Derek. I thought you were gonna have it."
I'm with you. I don't know if I'll ever win a laugh challenge. It's so hard.
It's and that's the thing. But people like. These laugh challenges are tough.
I know.
You sit in that room, you got the lights on you.
You've got Derek behind the desk looking at you,
people
making
behind
sure
the camera, like smiling and laughing
what
and
are you doing
doing
over there,
silly
Jay?
things.
It's one of those things as the person who sits behind the camera a lot of times in these laugh challenges, I will sit there if someone's pretending or trying their darndest not to laugh and go, huh? You gonna laugh? You gonna laugh? You gonna do it? You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it? Non-verbally, of course. But
pause the video just to let that draw out.
but yeah, not broken, but that's not the last of me in laugh challenge. So we'll see.
Ryan Schultz over on Instagram. Mark, what is the tattoo on your arm?
It's something that I designed up. It's based off of the logo for a band, one of my favorite bands, Manchester Orchestra. So like their logo is 3 bars like this. But my mom's a piano teacher and taught me piano growing up. Both my parents are professional musicians. So piano was a big part of that. So I turned their logo into a keyboard. And yeah.
Nice.
So
I have another random question.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in because now I know what the questions are because you just spoke to the idea of the producing side of this. And so I'm sure that people to whatever degree are like thinking, if I was a viewer, I would be like, man, so 6 people are playing. So are somebody sitting there watching each of them play through each time?
Every single one.
Right.
Every single video game episode that's probably come out in the last year and a half, 2 years, I have watched at up to 6 people play through a game from beginning to end. Like, again, Life is Strange. From beginning to end, I watched these guys make their choices, make their decisions. I watched people through Dark Souls struggle over and over and over again.
I'll give away
the
a
button's
little.
there. The button.
I'll give away a little tidbit that, like, we get through some things. The elders, sometimes you actually have to get over there and just help them get through a moment. A little bit of a spoiler there. You got to get them past some moments sometimes because otherwise we never get anywhere.
We were talking gamer logic again. There's that gamer logic where if somebody's playing a game and I tell them, oh, you have to hit X, and they go, okay, without even looking at the controller, they hit X, versus some other people who are like, oh, X, which button is that? They have to take a second to look. To the elders who I say, no, it's the left mouse button. The one on the left. You see there's 2. No, that's the wheel. No, you...
And meanwhile, Rock is like, oh, the sky! Yes!
and again, they're always great sports about. They're lovely. They're
incredible.
fantastic.
Rock is one of my favorites.
We're giving them technology that in any other circumstance, they have no business dealing with, to be fair. We're giving them controllers that have 17 buttons on them. And they're like, when we give them a keyboard, they're like, all right, every one of these does something. Right.
But these things go into I think, some people, not the 5% that are watching, but like we have that broad audience is watching some videos that they find through SEO or whatever. But the idea that we get that comment of like, so many people work at this place doing some of these shows, and it's like the effort of people like Marc and Derek that will make you not realize what it takes, which is like, we need people in that room working with these people. We need editors to be working through all that footage. We need AEs, we need PAs, we need all these people to actually do the things that make it not just the one person playing the game. When you're actually then making it into a format, you're making it into this experience to watch. It takes a lot of people.
When you see something that's really well put together and feels smooth and seamless and entertaining and simple to a degree, I think it's very easy to lose sight of that effort behind the scenes. And it could be a piece of technology or something where you're like, oh, that's so small and simple and straightforward. And you don't realize that it takes thousands and thousands of man hours to make something kind of simple. And I think what Rafi just said in terms of when you watch some of our shows or some of our formats and you just kind of see a static shot or, and see a couple people talking, it's very easy to come away from that experience thinking like, oh, like, I could do that. That seems easy. And I think that just goes to show just how effing awesome the talent is that we have here at FBE and the people working behind
Walking Dead.
Oh my God.
Do it on the weekend.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, so we'll quickly move to the, I don't know if there's any news or teases section. I do want to give a quick shout out or reminder to the 5%. Anybody listening to this podcast, if you haven't checked out FBE2 yet, man, if you dug any of the stuff we're talking about, we're just starting to scratch the surface of that stuff on our vlog, our new vlog that has just started on FBE2. You can see Marc. I'm sure Derek's popped up already. If not, he will be.
The last episode, you got to see a timeline.
Jay has our production assistant here. You get a much better insight into the day-by-day behind the scenes of what's going on at the company.
No, you do. You get to see Marc's desk in the second episode.
I showed off some crazy timelines.
Yeah, which timeline did you show? There was a crazy one.
They saw Life is Strange, and then I was like, okay, Life is Strange.
Like,
if this
and
looks
even
crazy,
me watching, I was thinking, they were like, whoa, look how crazy. And I'm like, I really hope he opens another timeline.
You want to see Madden? You want to see how crazy it can get?
I have to personally apologize for Madden. It was one of those things where, hey, it's another gaming tournament. We do gaming tournaments all the time. And I went to Marc and went, hey, man, what if we did this cool thing with the graphics? We had these quarter things go by, and we've got these like glass shard things. And then
for those listening to the audio version, Marc picked up the play button and started hitting himself in the head.
And I dropped out.
Yeah, and I was like, we'll use the actual in-game announcers to help tell the story of what's going on. I think Marc hated me for that week. But again, at the end of the day,
right before Christmas.
At the end of the day, if you go pull up that episode, you look at it and you're like, hey, yeah, looks like an episode. Looks like something else we do. But the amount of work and twofold the amount of stress that I put onto Marc.
It was probably like 7 separate QC passes I had to do on that episode, watching something different each time to make sure like.
Man, you just give me flashbacks of what it used to be like when I did the QCs and stuff, and just going through them and seeing that like the time jumped to like, just because you didn't realize it, and literally it went from 1 minute to like counting down to 40 seconds and then up to 50, and it was just like, no.
For the 5% QC quality control, it's what we do because it's yet another like step in our process where we are meticulously watching back the footage, the final export, to try and catch as many of our mistakes as possible. Because, man, help you, once you put something out to the world on YouTube, man, the 5% everybody else on YouTube, they will let you know every mistake you ever make.
YouTube commenters are nice.
So we have, and because I was thinking back to that process too, when even they would tap into like me for QC back when I was more involved in post, and I would be that was one thing where you come across certain skills in life where you just know you suck at, right? Where you're just like, thank God they don't trust me to do something like this, because I would watch something 4 times, and like Marc says,
I would have to like watch.
You watch different things.
I would watch the top right.
There's so many graphics you're watching, so many countdowns, so many like trackers, so many scores, so many like, and then you're looking for technical things, white flashes, the music. And so one time I would listen to it and try and just listen to the music because God help me if I listen to anything else. And then the next time I try and look at graphics.
Is the music okay?
It's ruined me for other like media that I watch because like I've got just like such an acute sense of like when something's off.
Why did they fix that?
Yeah, like it can be like a 1 frame flash of something, but I'll notice it and I'll be like, they messed up.
But now pretty much the whole post department, or at least the AEs and editors, can all QC at this point, right, Mark?
Yeah.
And so now we have this team of people that are like, if you ever see any AE or editor in a Challenge House episode or a podcast or social or anything else, just be like, you guys kick ass at QCing. Like, it's incredible. And it's a really cool, like, just random skill that now all of our posts and production, because you guys are watching them too.
There's almost like two stages to the approval and then the QC.
Yeah.
So approval basically saying, yes, I think this is a good episode as far as the people are saying what they're supposed to be saying, the graphics are where they're supposed to be. Okay, this is good. Make sure it's good.
Yeah, QC is like the technical aspect. Right. So like the approval is the creative aspect behind it. Yeah, these are all the selects I want. The color looks like I want it to be. Pacing. Yeah. Sound mix sounds good to me. And then the QC is the technical stuff. Okay, there's a frame out of here, or like somebody gets clipped off. There's an audio blip. There's stuff that's a little less on the creative end.
Which would you like, company wise, or
I'm going into the company questions.
Or
do you have more like
I'll randomly say a company news thing kind of thing. Just that outside of some of the things we're doing here day to day and that you tend to see, there's been a couple run throughs. I can't say with which like television network, but there is a show that we've been working on and have with a television network that we're always hoping. There's always like different pilots and presentations or things that are in development that the company is able to be fortunate enough to have sold to different television networks, but you guys don't tend to hear about them. We're still even trying to figure out how we get you guys more, understanding of that side of the company. It's a bit like harder to find its way because it's not like necessarily here and it's not necessarily like happening all the time. It's random, but there have been like a couple of run-throughs of this show that we've been doing because it's a game show and they've been going really well. That's where I came from right before this, and we had one on Friday as well. And it's been fun because some of the reactors have been able to be a part of it, just to like help.
We may have just posted a picture on Instagram from the elevator, cool. I think, that Benny took.
Well, then check out the picture that Betty took.
Hopefully that's
for
on
all the information.
But we're always hoping, because it's been a bit since there's been a project that's gone in TV. There's been pilots and presentations and things, but we haven't ended up getting one sold to series. So I'm hopeful on this one. It's a really fun one that I think that the audience, especially because I know what you guys are watching on the channels, it would be something that you guys would really love to see. And maybe there's the hint of it from the picture, but I wouldn't know.
Lifting the curtain for a quick second, Jay, can you see if the hashtag shout out list is outside the door, maybe by the window? Because I think I printed out the hashtag.
Like with this more relaxed pace, how are we right now?
We're around 55 right now.
Okay, but I don't think
this
we
is
need
all
to rush
making
through.
it into the podcast. By the way, 100%.
Even grabbing
yeah,
the
why not?
Oh,
Hey, this is Jay, everybody.
This is Jay.
can I go? I don't want to stop yet.
Then go.
Okay.
Yeah, we got more to
give
talk
us something
about.
else.
Yeah, well, I'm interested, because
You get the extra scoop.
Something that's being discussed, and I'm interested in your guys' perspective on it. Of one of the types of gameplays that we haven't really done is more of the LAN party or playing online,
Your Dota, League of Legends,
MMO type stuff.
Yeah, or even when we play Friday the 13th and everybody wishes that we were having all the reactors playing together, or Destiny 2. Everybody was saying that in the comments for Destiny 2, wishing that they were doing raids together and different things that. So there is a hope that might be something come more end of this year or into 2018 that maybe we'll be able to have more of a setup for that degree, which I think the audience would be really happy to do. And we have a lot of things we've never been able to really even play in that sense. But if we were going to be doing that, what would you guys be like, oh, finally we could play this?
GTA 5.
GTA 5. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's something we've discussed.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto Online. It's which is an interesting thing in itself that it was
That's
a
almost another Skyrim at this point in terms of it's
has
been out
evolved
here
from
5
what it
years.
originally meant to be, and how you can have so much fun in Grand Theft Auto Online without ever actually playing what the game wants you to play.
Right, yes.
What kind of stuff would we would be trolls sometime where we would just
go kill each other.
We just go mess with. We just we'd pick a person. We're one of these people. We'd pick a person and we would just not leave them alone. And we wouldn't be mean to them necessarily, but we'd follow them around the map and see how long it would take for them to rage quit. Like just little things like that by themselves, building games within games kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is so much fun.
We put a little party together ourselves. For they're not the raids, but the heists on GTA 5, which was it was basically like putting yourself into the world of like Ocean's 11. Like you plan the heist, you like go set up your cameras to like disable stuff. Like everybody has their own job that they go off and do, and then you like get the big heist. And
has there been stuff that like outside of that? Are there other types of gameplays or things that you wish that we would be able to do at this point, but right now we're not being able to do it? I mean, mixed reality would be fun, but we still have only been able to play a little bit with that. But
games,
I think anything. I mean, with me too. Like especially now that multiplayer is so prevalent, online multiplayer. The thing that I always seem to gravitate towards personally is anything that's cooperative. Anybody can go online, play Call of Duty, and shoot up strangers, but to have to like get on a headset, work as a team, like we were saying with those heists, Overwatch. There's this new game coming out next year called A Way Out, and it's a co-op game where you're two separate people trying to break out of a prison, and you're working together. So to be able, anything that's cooperative to me is so much more engaging and entertaining than just watching people.
That's part of why I think I loved the Star Trek episode so much.
Yeah,
because there were four people trying to communicate with each other that they had just different pieces of the puzzle that they're trying to move forward.
So that would be places you'd want to go into more of like watching people, like watching the Reactors doing co-op
absolutely
type of games more often.
Most definitely. Yeah, again, that Star Trek is a great example of that. I mean, I think we even filmed them doing 2 missions. We haven't released that second mission.
Oh my God.
But yeah, again, because it's so much more, again, anybody can be like, all right, you're the bad guy, I'm going to shoot at you, but we're going to have to work together to solve a problem is so much more engaging, I feel.
Yeah. For me, I think like we started a little bit with the audience engagement team and the lively streams, but I think live stuff, like as a gamer, like I watch a lot of Twitch. I watch a lot of people doing like fun, just random, like one of my favorites is Dark Souls no hit runs. People playing through the entire game of Dark Souls without taking a single hit. Like,
are you a fan of Dark Souls by chance?
No, I've never heard of that game. It's my current obsession. But I think like doing Twitch stuff and stuff that we could, the Reactors could react with the audience and like the 5% with like even into ways of like playing with them. Like if we had a multiplayer game, like setting up a party and we have, a raffle on Twitch and it's like, okay, you've got the code, you get to play against Tom or something in the PvP. I think that would be
big plans.
Yes,
big plans.
Yes. I mean, I know that's something even way back when we did Overwatch the very first time, however long ago that was, that we initially wanted to put something on our social media saying, hey guys, we're going to open a private lobby. We're going to invite you, give us your gamer tags, and you're going to play with the Reactors. Now, granted, it never came to fruition, but we've had these ambitions for quite some time, and it's more of a logistical thing. Yep. The creative is there. It's how do we do it?
Yeah.
But we want to. Man, do we want to. Hopefully soon.
On your guys' side, anything that you wanted to kind of speak to from the side of working on these things or overall, like literally anything on your mind?
I didn't know I could edit games for a living. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And honestly, in the sense of how being a part of trying to figure out how the hell we were even supposed to do it, like what is this? Like the very first games that we ever did, and like I was editing them and just being like, how does this work? You're doing incredible work.
Marc's killing it, and just shout out at our other gaming editor, Rachel.
Rachel go on said because.
Rachel, she's the editor who works on what we call either a lightning or a game of the week. It's our Tuesday releases.
Right. Actually, at this point, it has separated.
Yeah, now that gaming's ramped up, like because since I got here, that's a lot of the other editors. They touch multiple shows. I have edited 2 laugh challenges. Other than that, everything has been gaming. So everything that I could physically do has been
Were
me.
they
And then-
game-themed laugh challenges, Mark?
We brought it up. We have brought it up.
Oh God, there's some good game
Game-fail laugh
memes.
challenges?
We brought up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually a good point in the sense of like just mentioning quickly of like the other things that you work on. It's not like you do other things.
Oh, I mean, as we've kind of narrowed down, like I've become much more gaming focused.
Yeah.
I have worked on every show on a React channel. So my main things that I work on now is gaming, staff reacts, and the laugh challenges. But I've put together Do They Know It's? I put together food episodes.
Hey, I got a correlation here.
Hey,
That's a transition.
Segue.
DarkSheik wanted to know, hey, do you guys check if the reactors have any allergies before versus food episodes?
No.
It makes for a better reaction, literally.
Not only
An
for
allergic reaction.
Not only for the reactors, but as well as our staff.
Yes.
We want to make sure that we don't want to hurt anybody. We're all here to have fun. So we have like
They fill out they tell
form,
us.
yeah.
There's a
we
thing
just-
they have to fill out that says, what are you allergic to?
We just
Tell
did it
us.
with the staff too recently again, where we try to figure out, because like you see some people here, but like we even ask things like, are you even interested in things like staff reacts? Are you interested in things like
We don't force everybody to be in all the
exactly.
staff
So there
reacts.
there's actually a lot of talented people at FBE that you probably really won't see on camera that much or ever like on
Would
a
you
podcast.
like to be in impression challenge too?
Yeah, you might see them behind the scenes and maybe some social stuff like Snapchat and Instagram. But yeah, it's one of those very important questions is, food allergies? Please tell us. Yeah. So
I mean, we get to the point now where like I've gotten to know intimately so much of the staff just by sitting in that room. I've seen their deepest, darkest fears in some of these things. And so sometimes I know that and I'm cautious of that as I cast my episodes and talk to these guys. Yeah. Sometimes I exploit it. That's what we do here.
I think in the company meeting, you were just like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this morning we announced, every weekly Monday
scared
morning
everybody.
we have a morning meeting where we just kind of, hey guys, this is what we're working on this week, and we announced, hey, we're filming some staff reacts this week, and I simply said out loud, I felt I needed to. I'm sorry, everybody.
And nothing like
So
a
glad I
cryptic
wasn't in
vague, nothing like a cryptic vague apology from the person in charge of running the staff react room to really set the tone for a Monday morning meeting.
Welcome back to work.
Cool.
Was
Did you
there-
have something? I mean,
know,
there was one other like super OG like scripted sketch question.
Yes. No, ask that. Yes. That's good. Yes.
Okay, Justin Dunn over on YouTube. How did sketches like Dog Effer come about? Are they gone?
Okay, so Dog Effer had a
I'm
very
trying not to
specific,
bleep this episode.
very specific story. Like this was a sketch series, and that one very specifically ended up happening because our good friend, who was the person that made our original website back 13 years ago when we first put up our stuff online, John Wood, was getting married, and so we ended up wanting to come up with a sketch that we would film with him as a memory, as part of like being like, oh, we had all these memories. We went to your bachelor party. We did all this stuff, but we also should shoot some type of sketch. So we ended up making this absolutely ridiculous, over the top thing that was the night before his wedding, called Dog Effer. And he is not the Dog Effer. It's other people that are the Dog Effers of the world. And it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. And we made 3 episodes, and there was going to be a 4th, but I don't know if it's ever going to happen. But I know that there are random Dog Effer fans still out there, which is awesome and incredible that you guys are still out there. Generally with, and why it's like more of the transition of that is like, scripted has become a very difficult thing on the channel to be doing. Even now that Facebook is becoming, more like YouTube and starting to have ads on it too, it's still not enough revenue that comes back from how much money goes into having to make a sketch. And it's really what, like, at this point is a very frustrating experience for all of us here at the company, of like the limitations of what we can all do. There's so many things that we love making, and everything that you see us making, we're loving to make that. But there's so many more things that we would want to be doing also, that we're all, I think, in this industry right now waiting for some of these tipping points to happen, for the dam to break, where brands and advertisers and the revenue that comes in off of like YouTube views would go up, or Facebook go up, other ways to make content, so that we have the opportunity to do something on a larger scale in different ways. But one of the things that did end up becoming something that was like, how are we supposed to do sketches anymore? So that's where like Last Moments of Relationships and, even the spoiler series, the FBE sketches.
We
haven't been able to do them.
They're too expensive to kind of produce independently on your own in the current existing YouTube AdSense model.
So right now, like it takes time, and it's been specific of like we're trying to navigate the ecosystem now to find where are places that can actually fund those projects, and that's why Emo Dad Season 2 ended up being able to finally happen after years over on full screen, and lucky enough we were able to release it on the channel. But that's what we've talked about with the interactive content. Those will be something that hopefully will, when they come out, I'll be like, great, we have sketches again from that, a couple of them, and we have a couple of deals brewing with some platforms that aren't on YouTube to try to make some of this stuff again. That I know, like, and especially anybody that's like original Benny and Rafi fans. Originally, it's like, we only did scripted like web series and feature films and sketch comedy. And we like, you know, I think over the time, a lot of those people have been like, quote unquote, weeded out of like, they kind of were like, oh, I guess these guys aren't going to be doing those things anymore. But it's more of, it's just become the logistics of how everybody talks about the algorithm, or even I guess in our own way of like, we haven't gone through the demonetization problem as other people have had to totally start new channels, change their content completely, etc. But in a way, the algorithm and everything has changed a lot of the content that we were able to do. And even the idea of like not doing the branching narrative let's play games totally falls into the AdSense and the revenue that comes in, because it could become that like, no, it's like, it's complicated, it's whatever, but it's worth it. We should do it. And somebody's going to work on that for a month and a half and whatever. But then we're going to have this thing.
Mark's feeling a little sick
but it's just like the type, like it's, these things aren't possible.
Well, I mean, we face it in pretty much all aspects. So with gaming, I mean, we just released the Destiny 2 episode, and leading up to that, where there was a lot of articles and a lot of things coming out about how YouTube was demonetizing some of the
I didn't read
Destiny
that about Destiny.
Some of the Destiny
gore,
YouTubers
right?
because of the violence and the gore.
Oh right, yeah, that's been happening more.
And
recently,
so we had that worry of like, are they going to come out? Are they going to pull, demonetize it? Are they going to shut? And we, fellow YouTubers out there who are not getting that AdSense coming in for
that
it.
hurts for the game too, because like people playing the game on YouTube, that's advertising for that game. That's making people like watch the stuff, and if they're entertaining and enjoying the game, like that
has been a scary moment.
Value
of
for
like
the game,
not knowing yet what YouTube's gonna really dive into the gaming side of what constitutes violence, what constitutes sexuality, like what are we going to have in
it's
those
a new wave of censorship.
You've got Destiny that's very fantastical and space oriented, and that's what's getting pulled. But then you have games like Outlast, which is literally naked people on spikes, and you're like, well, that's okay.
But violence is always
more penises than I need to.
The Outlast blurring. Whew.
But that's something special in America. Is violence is always more acceptable than sexuality and nudity and some of that stuff. So it's very interesting.
It's in our history. We're a country because of violence.
Yeah.
So we're fine with it.
Meanwhile, like you see, like
we're not fine with it, but
so many countries in Europe and around the world are like, nudity is way more acceptable than hardcore violence. Like, they're rating
their nipples, they're
like,
natural. Like,
exactly.
Anytime you were a kid,
all got them.
American children that end up going to another country and end up flipping through television channels, it's like a whole new world. All of a sudden, you see breasts out of nowhere. You're just like, I don't understand.
It's an orange juice commercial.
Transitioning. We had a bunch of people leave the hashtag react to that last week for a chance at a shout out this week. Do we have a hashtag in mind for this podcast? Does something stand out to you from the...
I gave one on the vlog, so I probably can't reuse
too long.
that one.
It's lots of letters in that one.
Let's a short, and keep in mind that half of the audience is international, and English may not be the first language. So try and pick easy words.
Games with a Z. That's everything with a Z seems to do
with
it.
a Z.
You're so hip and cool.
I'm going to take your job.
Yes, he is.
We're doing it. It's games with a Z.
Nobody had anything better. That's what's going to happen.
GAMEZ. If you use the hashtag games with a Z,
holding us to a higher standard here.
That's the type of creative superpower.
New channel, Games with the Z.
Games with a Z. It's all written out. Games with a Z.
No.
Yes, that's what they have to do. Hashtag. And if we see games with just the Z,
I don't think people.
Then we're
all
deleting your
talking over
comments.
each other, so we're replacing the hashtag now. Now it's all spelled out.
Yes. All
spelled out.
Games with a Z. So you have to spell out
is
the
the
whole
first
thing.
games,
There we go.
Is the first games with a Z?
No.
Oh,
Is it
no.
Games
God damn it.
with a Z?
You guys are making this so difficult for me.
That's what I do. That's my job.
I think it has to be now. So it's GAMEZWITHAZ.
Is Z-Z-E-E?
Oh, just stop it. Just
Or is it
shut
Z?
up,
I mean, we
Rafi.
have an international audience
good
here.
point. Good
Zed.
point.
It's games with a Z only every time they say Z.
They have to do
It's
it
the
again.
This is all the
hashtag.
I hate so many of you right now. I'm the one that has to search for this next week to try and collect names. So again, games with a Z. So figure that out.
Now it's games with a Z?
I'm using your example.
Just take one, pass it.
Pass it
Yes.
down. Pass it down.
It's school.
School time.
Okay, so we're just gonna go. We're gonna go in a loop and keep reading through it until we read all the names. So
Yeah.
thank you so much to Abatha Moyhan.
Are we going right to left to right?
Let's
You're
go
next.
up down.
Manga
Up,
style.
down.
Alyssa Lockman.
Aniston Anarchist.
Anton Chvetan.
Ashley Happer.
Ben the Random Fan.
Bernice Chu. Bernice
Colin
Chu.
Cormier.
Dylan McMurrier.
Epic Kanarvik 97.
Very well done. Georgelina Vega.
Julie Jarapillo.
Julian Lelope.
Kaylin OPG.
Kendrick Harris.
Kevin De La Cruz.
Christoph Horvath.
Kyle de Blasio.
Linus Lindmark.
Living Able.
Maiko Nijabur.
Mama T.
Mar from GU.
Maureen O'Brien.
Mary Hutasha.
Michaela A.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Mr. Banan Kartong.
Nato Gislati.
N. Manel N.
Paytato 2.
Pia Cairo.
I think that was 2 days ago.
Oh, 2 days ago.
Power
Just
Speed
Paytato.
1 games.
Prakash D.
Power Spy. Oh,
Oh, wait,
Power
no,
Spy
no.
in one game.
We went there. We Prakash D. You're at Queen.
What?
You're at Queen.
Oh my God. Queen Azura 03.
Rose Sharkley.
Saber Knight.
Sasha Beth.
Shara Shamsudin.
I'm going to go Solaren.
Verove.
Wes Holton.
Windows 8253.
ZK.
And if you are listening from anywhere around the world, let us know. Leave a comment below saying I am listening from, and your country could have a chance at a shout out. We are
Whole country
incredibly
shout out.
Yes, we are shouting out your entire country because we are so crazy thankful and appreciative and grateful that even one person in America is listening to this, let alone one person in each
All
of these
these
amazing countries.
countries,
So thank you so much to Algeria. That's actually somebody living in Argentina that now lives in the UK. So
Argentina.
2 countries.
And everywhere on that line over the UK.
Aruba.
Belgium.
Brazil,
Canada.
Guam.
Hungary.
Jamaica,
Lithuania.
Mexico. Hope everybody's doing okay over there.
Yes, Nepal.
Netherlands,
New Zealand.
Oman.
Philippines.
Portugal.
Puerto Rico.
Same thing. Hope everybody's doing okay down in Puerto
Singapore.
Rico.
Sweden.
The
Uruguay,
USA.
Florida, California, Texas, Ohio, New York, and Michigan.
And Venezuela.
Amazing. Just ridiculous.
for you,
Every
Nick.
time.
Thanks, man.
How is it possible?
There's
How is
so
it
many
possible
countries.
that you just put out a video and like everybody can access it, and that's why television is dying.
I mean,
Like because we all can now access content
But-
all at the same time around the world.
the YouTube, I mean, you guys have both to various degrees, like, and dove into YouTube statistics and analytics. And like, you look at some of the stuff, some of the statistics, and like, you see, like, they're not lying. Like, there are people in these countries, and I can't believe it. Every day, I can't believe it that any, like, people have any interest in kind of what's going on in this little, like, in shop here in Los Angeles. But it's pretty incredible, and we're honestly really...
Also, like, huge props if English isn't your first language. Like, I know very little bit of German that I took in high school, but, like, not nearly enough to watch, like, some of these German gamers.
You're not listening to any German gaming podcasts? There's probably some amazing ones out there that you're missing out on.
Shout out to those people when we're sitting there watching those comments and the people are like, it's 2 a.m. here and I'm watching this scary game. What a mistake. Hey, you guys are helping what makes this what we are, you know?
Hiding out in the comments.
Did you guys have fun? Was this a good use of your time tonight?
The first gaming podcast.
The first.
Don't tease. Don't tease.
There's still so much I have to say about Dark Souls.
We didn't even get in the middle.
There's a Dark Souls specific FBE podcast.
Derek, me, and Peter could run an entire Dark Souls podcast. I guarantee you.
I did not know your passion extended beyond Marc, but you're also a huge Dark Souls fan, Derek?
More Bloodborne.
Not to the limit of him, but I got into it within the past few years, and it's definitely something that kind of overtakes you. It's because of the way the games work, you have to become invested in them. Otherwise, you have no idea what's happening.
It was like for the adult me, like the first time you played a game, like the story you said, it's like a brand new game, like that experience redone, because it's unlike any kind of gaming that I've ever played. That like it's like discovering gaming all over again. I think that's why I've become so obsessed with it.
I'm not obsessed. If you've got any Dark Souls questions in the meantime, I'm sure one of Marc's links will be in the description below. So.
I am a body vidya expert.
My God.
If you need any tips for beating certain levels or something, hit up Marc.
We throw Metal Gear Solid in that list too. I know it's one of the most complex, convoluted plots in gaming history. I got this. Let's go. Let's talk about it.
Also, Zelda timeline stuff. I got you. I got you. All 3 different timelines.
Well, awesome. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us.
This was a pleasure. Thank you guys so much. Really enjoyed it.
Really great.
Shoot the next episode now.
Just keep rolling.
Did you guys enjoy us nerding out for well over an hour about gaming? Let us know. Leave a comment. If you've got other questions about FBE or I know non-gaming content, feel free to leave those questions below too. Use the hashtag FBE Podcast. That's how I find your questions each week. Remember, the 5% are totally the co-producers on the show and all of the shows coming out over on FBE2, especially the vlog. Hopefully you guys have checked that out. If you haven't, go over there, subscribe, let Alex, Julie, and Tom and the rest of that team know you're digging this behind the scenes stuff, and we can't wait to see you again next week. So thank you guys so much.
We'll see you in the comments.
Later.